Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my NEWTs wrap up. So if somehow you've been living under a rock and you don't know, the NEWTs was a readathon that took place the entire month of August. I am a bit slow getting my wrap up out there. You may notice this is a different place than I am normally sat. I moved house again. So we are now in my book room or office, which is the conservatory, which is why you can see the garden behind me. Oh, I hate when that happens. And it might be a little bit echoey, so I can apologise for that, but this will be the first video I'm putting out there from the new setting, so I've got things to work with. I may put you more that way so you can see more shelf. I don't know. It's going to be, you know, I can't even do my work. I'm so tired. I've got things to work out. So I'm going to run you through the books I read in August towards my NEWTs. So I was completing my exams to become a charms professor, and I did complete all of the challenges that I needed to become a charms professor. So the first thing was to get an O in charms. So you had to get the A, the E and the O. And I completed this. First the A I read, I don't know the way, yeah. To achieve the A in charms, I read A Curse, Dark and Lonely by Bridget. This was absolutely amazing. I gave it 5 stars. For now, I'm gonna say my favorite book of the month, but I do have more to talk about. It was a very, very good book. It's gonna make one of my favorites this year. This is a modern day Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't think you need to know more than that. Really, really loved it, and it brought me a new author, Bridget, so I did actually read another of her books in this readathon, which I will get onto. But yeah, really, really love this. So next, to get my E in charms, I read something I actually don't know where it has been unpacked, and that is a Deadpool versus Hitler comic. This is the one that I didn't give a rating to because I don't know how to rate comics. I didn't love it, but then I don't think I really like comics. The prompt was to read a comic, graphic novel, manga thing, and that's not really my cup of tea. So I gave it a go, filled the prompt, read a very weird comic. But yeah, that is that box ticked. Didn't rate it, so maybe you should say I read 14 books, not 15. It was very short, but we're gonna say 15 for the point of this video. Finally, to get my O in charms, I read a book which I have actually already unhauled, and that is Breaking Him by R.K. Lily. This is the book I gave 1.5 stars. I can't remember what the 0.5 was for. Maybe I just didn't want to give it a flat. Very loud. Maybe I didn't want to give it a flat 1 star. That is very low, so is 1.5. This is an adult steamy romance that I did not care for. There was no point to it. The steamy stuff wasn't even worth it. Like, I sometimes think, this is probably even going to be worse to put in the wrap up, but when you read something like 50 Shades of Grey, even though there is the smut, there is like a storyline as well. Whether that storyline be any good is a different conversation, but there is something else happening. This book was just pointless, really. I enjoyed a couple flashbacks to their teenage years. That was interesting, but not a fan. The next criteria to become a charms professor was to get an E in Defense Against Dark Arts. So for my A, I read a book which is in my unhaul pile, bear with. So I read Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. This is a YA mystery thriller. I gave this 3 stars, I had to just check. Didn't love it, so it wasn't really that great. I did work out what was happening in the story, so just to go over it, this is about some girls who their best friend is brutally murdered, and they spend their whole childhood having people think that they did it, and they're trying to really find out what happened many years later. Wasn't the worst thriller I've ever read. Definitely wasn't the worst thriller I've ever read, but it wasn't great. I can't go back to it because I know what happens. So I am unhauling this. If anyone is interested in it, please do let me know, because it's in the charity shop bag. in the corner of my room and I would like to get it gone. So if you really want this, then just tell me and you can have it like straight away. That's fine. Yeah, so 3 stars for that one. And for the E, Exceeds Expectations in Defence Against the Dark Arts, I read All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. I gave this book 4 stars. This is a contemporary book about a girl called Violet and a boy called Theodore. Theodore is suicidal and Violet's sister has just died. So it's all about their friendship. They're given a project in school that they're told to work on together and just about how that develops. Really did like this book. There was something missing for me to give it 5 stars. Don't quite know what that was. I did cry at points. If you've read it, you'll probably know when I cried. I would definitely recommend this. It is a very heavy book, but I did enjoy my time reading it. I'm going to stop talking so much about the books because we still have a lot to go through. So the only other criteria was to get 2 A's in secondary subjects. The first one I got is here somewhere. I'm really not used to my new bookshelf layout. So the first A I got was in Ancient Runes, and that was reading The Dollmaker of Crack Off by R.M. Romero. This is not the copy I read, so this was part of my travelling book club. So another girl in the group sent round a copy of this book and I annotated it as I read. So this is a copy I bought myself because I loved it so much. Let's just see if the dust jacket's pretty. Oh, it's just red, but that's still quite pretty. Really loved this book, gave it 5 stars. Read it on the first day of the month, actually read the whole thing on the first day. Was really, so maybe I should explain some more. This is about a doll who wakes up in the real world at the time of the Nazi occupation of Poland and the creation of the Jewish ghettos and concentration camps and all that jazz. So this is like a middle grade spin on a very heavy topic. I absolutely loved it. I bought myself a copy of the book straight away. If you like historical fiction and can do middle grade as well as YA, then definitely read this. I very much enjoyed it and I will be rereading it soon and tabbing up my own copy, I think. Right in front of me. The next A I got was the A for Muggle Studies, and that is The Kissing Booth by Beth. We still don't know how to say her name. Reckles. I'm going with Reckles. So this is a Netflix film. It's one of my favourite Netflix films ever. I was so happy to read the book, and when I read the book, I gave it 4 stars. There was something missing for me to give it 5 stars, but 4 stars is still a very good rating. I'm still unsure about whether I prefer the movie or the book. They are very different. If I'm not mistaken, they end at different points as well. Maybe they don't. Forgotten, really. I read a lot of books this month. Definitely recommend this. It is an easy to read YA romance. If you don't want to read it, watch the film. Do one or the other because it's worth it. And before I put it away, the sequel is coming out in January, I believe, and I will be jumping on that straight away. So everything I read from this point on was completely optional. I'm just going to run them through in the order I read them. I can summarise my grades at the end if that is what you want to hear. But the next book I read was my A in Divination. Sorry, my notes are here. And that was If I Stay by Gail Forman. I have already unhauled this, so I can't show you a copy. I gave this book 2 stars. I'm thinking of giving the film a go. This is about a girl, I can't even remember her name, who is in a car accident with her family. There are a lot of tragedies from this car accident. One maybe not being her. She isn't sure. She wakes up at the accident. She can see her body. She is outside of it. And she follows her body round, trying to work out what's going on. And that pretty much summarises the book. It was very short. I didn't care for the characters, like, at all. Oh, my nan's ringing. Right, so I don't know where I got to because my nan called me. She wanted to know how I was getting on in the house. So I'm going to say I've talked about If I Stay and I gave it 2 stars. I'm moving on to my A in Arithmancy, where I can see the book is right next to me. and it is Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. So this is the second Bridget Kemmerer book I decided to read in August. I absolutely love this one as well. I gave this 5 stars. This is about a girl called Juliet, that's it, whose mum has died, and she used to write letters to her mum. Her mum used to work away a lot, so they would mainly communicate through letters. So after her mum died, she carries on writing these letters and leaves them at her mum's grave. And then one letter somebody decides to reply to. I think it is he literally just writes, "Me too." And yeah, that is pretty much how a very weird friendship starts. Really, really good book. Don't really know how else to explain it, but really loved it. Next, I have a book that is already packed away to take to America, and that is my A in History of Magic, which is Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. I gave this 3 stars. I didn't hate it. I don't want anyone to think I hated it, but I do not do fantasy. So 3 stars for me is very much like, it's good, but not really my cup of tea. And Spellslinger, I wanted to read. One, it was the forbidden book, so I could use it for any prompt. That prompt was to read a fantasy, so it fit it anyway. And Jade from JD Ray Reads does not shut up about that series, so I really wanted to give it a go, but sadly didn't love it. The squirrel cats were insanely cool. I liked the weird friendship between our main character and somebody else, but it was different to what I thought it was going to be. So it's about a boy who is supposed to have magic, and he doesn't really have any. So I thought it was going to be him continuously tricking people throughout the book to pretend he has magic. That was the theme at the start, but it didn't really carry on, and that was my main problem with it. But 3 stars, not a bad book. I read it amongst all these other books. Can't really remember much about it, but I'd say it must be good, but I can't really recommend fantasy because I do not read it. Next was my E in Divination, and I read Meet Cute by a whole lot of authors. Ones I can remember are Jennifer Al Armentrout, Huntley Fitzpatrick. I can't remember any of them now. No, sorry. Evie's a Boy, is that how you say the name? Anyway, gave this book 3 stars overall. I ranked each story individually because it's a collection of short stories, and then the average rating that came out was 3. Some of the stories I loved, some of them I even gave no stars because I hated. But yeah, can't really say much about this. It's all about meet cute situations. So when someone sees someone and they're, meant to be. And that is really it. Don't really have more to say. I don't have it here because I got it at the library and I've had to return it. But yeah, not really much more to give on that one. Next, I read my A in Potions, which was to read a friend's favourite book, and I read Brittany's, which is The Selection by Kira Cass. I gave it 5 stars. It was on my Kindle, so I can't show you. I want the next book straight away. I know it's on Scribd, so I might listen to it, but oh my god, loved it. It was so cheesy that it was just insanely my cup of tea, and I had to just devour it. I read it very, very quickly. It was in 1 or 2 days. But yeah, this is about to me, it was like a Hunger Games sort of world where there are different classes, and then there is a raffle, with no other better word, to end up on a reality show where you will date the prince or marry the prince at the end. And really loved it. It was awful, but that's what made it good. Only 3 books left. The next was my Ian Muggle Studies, which was After Ever Happy by Anna Todd. I rated this the highest I have ever rated an Anna Todd book, and I gave it 5 stars. It finished all of my issues with the After series. Everything I wanted answering was wrapped up. Everything I wanted to happen happened. I loved it. Can't tell you too much about it because it is the 4th book in the series, but if you have any interest in YA, new adult romance, just pick it up. It's Anna Todd was a Wattpad author, and this was a fan fiction when she first wrote it. It is now a Netflix film. Definitely prefer the books to Netflix, but we will see what happens with those films because I know the next one is coming out soon. But yeah, really, really like that book. Next was my O in Muggle Studies, which is nearly somewhere. Here it is. To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, I gave this 4 stars. Again, Netflix film. I had a thing for Netflix films in the NEWTs. This book, so I gave it 4 stars. There was something lacking to be 5 stars. This is the book that ends somewhere differently to the film. I think I preferred the film, but I do have the next book here somewhere. Here it is. Oh, it's wedged. I have P.S. I Still Love You, which I want to get to soon, and I'm thinking that by reading the sequel, I'll get a better judge of my feelings on this series. But for now, 4 stars. It was just missing something to get the 5. And last but not least, I actually have a book which is living in my living room now, and that is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which I read for my E in Ancient Runes. I obviously gave this 5 stars. So myself, Catherine, and Lauren from She Is Such a Lauren have been rereading the Harry Potter series. I'd never read Deathly Hallows before. I'd never finished the series. I don't know why I couldn't do it to myself. I just couldn't. And I've now read it, finished it, 5 stars. Don't need more of an opinion on Harry Potter. It was amazing, and I had to read a Harry Potter book during the NEWTs. So that was the 14 books and 1 graphic novel that I read during the NEWTs. If you've read any of these books or have opinions, or if you yourself did the NEWTs and have got a wrap-up video that I can watch, then please link it down in the comments and I will get to it as soon as I can. We don't have internet at the moment, so I'm gonna have to upload this at work. But as soon as I can, I will watch your wrap-ups. So thank you for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.